So Henry Cavill is not returning as Superman for the DCEU. What do we think? Comment down below, do you think that this is long-term going to be a good thing or a bad thing? I think in the short term, this is a bad thing, because everybody loves Henry Cavill, everybody loves him as Superman. In the long term, however, I think it's a good thing. And hear me out. For universes to work, and that's what DC wants here desperately, and has wanted now for like 10 years, you have to have characters that are going to come back over a long period of time. I don't believe that the caliber of actor that they keep hiring to do these characters are going to be willing to do that, because they're so busy. Do you think that The Rock is going to keep coming back to appear as Black Adam in how many different films, with how busy that man is? I truly doubt it. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, but Robert Downey Jr. keeps coming back and he's one of the busiest, most famous actors in the world. Not back in 2008, he wasn't. In 2008, people didn't want to work with Robert Downey Jr. because of his court case things, because of his imprisonment thing. Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, they were both just playing side characters in other less dramatic things. Ed Norton, the original Hulk. Look, Google that. Hollywood doesn't like Ed Norton. Nobody wants to work with him. That's why they replaced him. The MCU was started with actors that were not, at the time, massive household names. They were allowed to then grow into those characters when they did it well to make them household names that everybody knows today. I think for the DCEU, or whatever we're going to keep calling it, for it to be successful in years and years' time, like the Marvel formula, because that's what they want, again. Whether they admit it or not, it's what they want, because who wouldn't? They need to be hiring people that are not as busy, that are going to be able to make the characters their own, and that are going to be able to do it for a while. When you look at Black Adam, do you see Black Adam, or do you see The Rock? Meanwhile, Henry Cavill is Superman, sure. But is he going to be able to continue being Superman for another 10, 15 maybe years? Jason Momoa, another good choice. He looks like a good Aquaman. But is he going to be willing to keep coming back that frequently as much as they need him? Again, I doubt it. I think that the core cast has got to be people that are not huge names already. Otherwise, they're just going to have the whole I'm too busy to do that thing. Like, look at The Witcher. Henry dropped out of The Witcher for... There were multiple reasons, but one of them was to go and be Superman again. And now he's neither. Then we've got Batman, Ben Affleck, one of the, at the time, biggest actors on the planet. Again, he's not just going to keep coming back, and he didn't. That's why we've got Robert Pattinson now, who again, good choice, and he's young enough to play him for a while. But he's already a very well-known actor that might decide he wants to work on other projects rather than just be Batman for 10 years. And this is the problem, is they need actors that are going to be Superman for 10 years, that are going to be Aquaman, The Flash, all of them, you know what I mean? Because for the most part, in the big come-up of the MCU, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, none of them really did anything else other than be the characters that they were going to be. To be household names, you need to look at Robert Downey Jr. and go, that's Iron Man. And somehow they need to do that with the cast of the DC projects. Another thing that I think that DC really needs to do is take their time. Look at when they did Justice League, the film. They didn't earn it like Marvel earned Avengers. They were just playing catch-up because they really wanted to drop the Justice League because they knew that the name alone would make it a lot of money. A lot of people went to see the Justice League because they knew that it was like the DC equivalent of the Avengers, not because they actually really cared about the Justice League. Again, they don't need to try to copy Marvel, but realistically, it would work if they just actually put some time into making each character their own character. Have a Superman film, have a Batman film, have a Flash, all of them. But before they do the Justice League, not after like they're doing now. They're making the same mistake that Marvel made with Black Widow. The Black Widow film flopped because by the time it came out, nobody cared. Black Widow's literally already dead. Black Widow as a film could have succeeded years ago, when she was on the come-up. Maybe not in Phase 1, because at the time nobody would have cared about who Black Widow was, they wanted to see the bigger action stars. But maybe Phase 2 or Phase 3, but definitely not Phase 4 after she was already literally the least relevant she could possibly be now. Especially now that she's just been replaced. Imagine how good it would be if over the next 3 to 5 years they release one DC film each year leading up to that Justice League. Make it important, make it good, make us care. This is something that the DC cartoons have always done incredibly well. People that are really well versed in like superheroes as a whole, which isn't me, but people that are pretty much often agree that DC cartoons destroy Marvel cartoons. You got the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series, the 2 Justice League animated series, where it's all one universe. DC has had a big, successful universe before, but in the cartoon world. Why was it successful? Because it took years and a lot of work. They didn't try to shortcut it. They didn't try to get by just having a big name be their actor. A lot of people will go see a superhero film, or a Superman film, sorry, not because it's Superman and they want to see what's going on with Clark Kent, but because at the minute, everybody knows that Henry Cavill is a good Superman. They're going to see Henry Cavill, not Superman. But people didn't go to watch Iron Man because they wanted to see Robert Downey Jr. They wanted to see Iron Man because in the viewer's head, in the consumer's head, Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. are one and the same. But Henry Cavill and Superman, you're going to watch Henry Cavill not because it's Superman, because people didn't care. They didn't make you care. For this to succeed, you have to make people care about the character, not just the actor who is playing the character, even if that casting is as good as Cavill as Superman. They have to mix the two. So yeah, short term I think it's a bad thing. Long term I think it is probably the right decision in that they need to start again. We have already got a Justice League and a Man of Steel film, and they've got to start again. Because at the minute it's clearly not working, it's too disjointed. You've got the Batman, you've got Joker, and then you've got all the actual DCEU stuff, and none of it's all interconnected, but they obviously want it to be interconnected, but they can't because the actors are too big. Joaquin Phoenix is not going to keep coming back as the Joker every few years. He just isn't. God knows how long Patterson's going to be Batman for. Theoretically, the guy's young enough where he could do it for a long time. It's whether or not he wants to commit his career to being Batman for a while. Because if he isn't, it's not going to succeed as well as they want it to. It's something Tom Holland has talked about before. He doesn't know how long he wants to be Spider-Man for because he's afraid of being typecast as only being capable of playing Spider-Man. But that's why people like him, because they see him as a good Spider-Man and they like his Spider-Man. This is why it must be difficult to be an actor, in that you have this incredibly successful role that everybody wants you to keep doing and they love you doing it, but you want to go and do other things, but then you do other things and it doesn't succeed as well. I'm looking at Uncharted, for example. So it's what do? Do they do what they actually want to do, or do they do what the people want them to do? And it's a difficult one, and it must be hard to be an actor, I swear. But anyway, comment down below your thoughts, if you haven't already, if you're still here. If you've watched it this far, which very few of you won't, comment, rest in peace Kevin Conroy, the best Batman to ever live. Click the subscribe button, I'll see you guys later.